Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and because we've had a little bit of fall-like weather this week, because we've had a little bit of spring-like weather this week, we're going to bring in two fall sport athletes, Hallie Sanders and Sophia Valdez from volleyball. We're going to bring in two springtime athletes, Ashley Burns and Grace Rafi. I'm going to finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Top 10 finish for Greyhound Rodeo last week for the guys. Top 10 finish for Greyhound Rodeo for the women last weekend. Good start to the season for the Greyhound men's basketball team. They did lose to Fort Lewis College, but they came back to beat their bitter in-state arch rivals, New Mexico Highlands. Great start to the season for Greyhound women's basketball. They got a double-digit win against New Mexico Highlands. They got a double-digit win against Fort Lewis College. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so what we'll do is we'll clear the set and we'll bring in Hallie Sanders and Sophia Valdez from Greyhound Volleyball right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a privilege to bring to the set of SportsLook two young ladies from the volleyball squad at Eastern New Mexico University. We've got Hallie Sanders, we've got Sophia Valdez. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, Hallie, you're a veteran. You've been on the program before, so, and I'm sorry, Hallie. I got so excited to have you here. Hallie, obviously. But for the people who didn't get a chance to see either of the previous episodes, please tell us where you're from and what was the process that got you here.
I'm from Houston, Texas, and I started at another university in the conference, St. Edwards, and after 3 years there, I decided to get in the portal, see what else was out there, and that led me to Eastern.
Very good. And Sophia, what's your backstory?
So I'm from Roswell, New Mexico, and I went to Goddard High School, and my coach at my high school knew Coach Poyer, so that's kind of how I got here. It was from my coach in high school.
Your coach was actually one of my advisees when he was an undergrad at Eastern and then was an assistant coach here.
Yes, sir.
Keeping it all in the family, as the expression goes.
Exactly.
Well, Hallie, we've asked you the question before, but here again, what was your association with sports in general and volleyball in particular as you were growing up?
My dad and mom played a lot of sports. My dad played in college. He went to U of H and played football. So all my siblings and me grew up playing sports. My older sister played volleyball, and I just wanted to be exactly like her. So I started playing volleyball, and I just fell in love with it, and I have yet to stop. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, Sophia, what's your association with sports and with volleyball in particular?
Well, my parents did not go. My parents did not go. They did not really play sports. My mom kind of played in high school, but I played club whenever I was little, and so I just did not stop. And I tried basketball out, didn't work, so I just stuck with volleyball.
Very good.
Yes, here I am now.
Well, Hallie, who were the big influences on you from a coaching perspective? Did you have a coach at a young age, or was your high school coach? Who would you say really had the biggest influence on you?
I would say my high school coach, Coach Daniel. My high school was built in 2016, so that was my freshman year. So we all had to come into a new program, and just watching her kind of build the program from literally the ground up was really inspiring, and she carried us all with her. Yeah.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Sophia, we'll ask you the same question. Who was the most influential coach?
I'd probably say my club coach. I started out with her when I was small, so she taught me how to serve, how to do all the basics, and yeah, Jessica Chavez is her name, and she's really what got me started. Yeah.
Well, Hallie, obviously, this is a year that saw kind of a few twists and turns for Greyhound volleyball, and talk a little bit about what it was like when Coach Poyer very wisely from a health standpoint decided he needed to step aside, and a young lady who was in her first year here had to become your head coach. What was that like?
I think it was very confusing for all of us. I mean, we all love Coach Poyer and we always want what's best for him. It was a lot of mixed emotions. You're sad because he's leaving, but you're happy that he's choosing kind of what's best for him and his family and his health. And just watching Coach Nat kind of pull up her bootstraps and kind of take it all head on and just kind of grab the team and say, hey, this is what it is now, and this is how the season's going to be. And I think she's really done a good job.
Sophia, I'll ask you the same question. What was it like from your perspective?
I also think we were a little confused at first, but Coach Nat has done a great job with trying to lead us. And we obviously wish that Coach Poyer was here, but Coach Nat has done a great job, I think. So.
In what ways are they similar coaches from your perspective? In what ways are they different?
I would say they're different because Coach Poyer kind of takes more of a laid-back approach. Kind of, things will work out, everything's good. He's not going to yell at you, get up and scream during a match. Coach Nat is kind of the opposite. She will kind of yell, get on you a little bit, kind of try to light that fire. They're both very similar because they do want what's best for you as a person, not just an athlete. They kind of talk to you about school, what's going on in life, what's going on at home, things like that. So I definitely think they're very similar in that way.
To a certain extent, Sophia, volleyball is get the ball to your hitter in a position where she can get a kill.
Yes.
But the way you get the ball there is different. So do Sia and Natalia have like the same coaching plays, or did Natalia tweak it a little bit?
I think they'd have the same thing, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty similar.
I think they're similar in that sense.
Okay. Well, Holly, looking back at the season, what stands out to you? It doesn't even have to be a win, but if you look at your season, what match are you proudest of?
I would have to say the one against St. Edwards. That's my old school. That's where I came from. So that's a pretty big standout one for us. I also think just that weekend against St. Mary's and St. Edwards was a real clicking point for us as a team. Obviously, this season hasn't been going the best, but that kind of felt like when we were all kind of clicked together and realized, like, hey, we can do this. Even though a lot of things are happening, it started kind of to feel like Eastern volleyball again.
Well, Sophia, what was the high point of the season so far for you?
Definitely that match against St. Ed. When we won it, oh my gosh, we were like we were so going crazy. But I do think that one was where we all kind of just came together as one. And that was like one of the first matches that we won. And it was against St. Ed. So yeah, it was awesome. That was my favorite game by far.
Well, not only do you have a first-year assistant coach who became a head coach, but you've got a first-year grad assistant who obviously had to step up her game literally and figuratively. So talk a little bit about your grad assistant.
Shelby is so fun. I think she just is always absorbing information. I think she's just ready to learn at any point, even from us as her players, and especially from Coach Nat, not even from a coaching standpoint, from like an admin standpoint. Just all the things that happen behind the scenes. She's very like a sponge, always absorbing information.
And Sophia, what's your reaction to Coach Shelby?
Coach Shelby is always there to help. You ask her questions, she knows what to say all the time, and she's also there to help Coach Nat, like balance Coach Nat out when she's, a little aggravated with us, or So Coach Shelby's got a little balance, and she's always there if you have questions.
Holly, when you got to Eastern, you obviously were a veteran. You kind of knew the ropes of college, but you didn't know the ropes of Eastern. So what player on the squad really helped you with your adjustment to life here in Portales?
Oh, I would say there was a couple. I think Kia, she was a big one, volleyball-wise, being a captain, having spent her 3 years here already, kind of just introducing me to people, helping me make friends. And then Hetzi being the other captain, and just Callie. Really, that whole class was really just very welcoming to someone who hadn't been here as long as they had and came from a different kind of school in the conference. They were very welcoming in just all aspects. So, yeah, that whole class.
Okay, and Sophia, I'll ask you the same question. Who helped you make the adjustment to college and to Eastern?
Definitely Darcy was my person that helped me with everything. I was always lost, especially in the weight room and stuff, and I could always just go to Darcy and ask her for help, and she was always there. So definitely Darcy on that one.
Let's talk a little bit about your career in general. Allie, looking back at all of the matches that you played for Eastern, what match out of your entire career is the one that really stands out? I imagine the St. Ed's is probably pretty close. It may be the same answer, but give you a chance.
I would say it's still the St. Ed's one, just because knowing that the team kind of came together and a lot of them were saying, hey, we're doing this for you, we got your back, that was a really special moment. So yeah, same answer, still the Seds game.
And Sophia?
That same
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was a big game for us, I think. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about you as a player. I mean, obviously, you want the team to win. If the team wins, that's all that really matters. But do you go into a match saying, I want this many kills, I'd like this many blocks, or it's just if the game comes to you, you'll take it, and if it doesn't, that's going to be fine?
I've told Sophia this before multiple times. I'd just be like, if I don't get set once and we win, that's a good game in my book. I think whatever works best for the team is what I need to happen,
There we go. Sophia, same question to you.
Yeah, just spread the ball out. If I don't get set, but we're still winning, hey.
It's a break.
Yes, that's good. That's a good sign.
Well, we obviously have talked about you as an athlete. Let's talk a little bit about Hallie Sanders as a student. What are you majoring in and what do you hope to do?
I'm a social work major, and I just kind of interviewed for my practicum that we have to do, kind of like an internship, and I'll be doing it with the Portales Public Schools. So I'll kind of be a social work in that aspect, getting to like shadow some people in different positions. So maybe school social work, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, and what's been your favorite class at Eastern?
Let me think. I took a jewelry making class. That has nothing to do with my major, but jewelry making was very interesting, and it was a very fun class. So. Was
that Greg Stan?
Yes.
Yeah. He is one of the people that makes Eastern very special.
Oh, yeah. Recommend, 100%.
All right, Sophia, I'll ask you the question, what are you majoring in? And then we'll go on into favorite class.
I'm majoring in biology, pre-med. And wait, what was the next question?
So what's been your favorite class at Eastern?
They're all so hard. All these classes are really hard, but my favorite one is probably my first biology class that I took, which was cellular and molecular biology. Definitely my most fun class. But it was definitely because of the professor.
Who was it?
Dr. Green.
Okay.
Yes, he was great. I loved him. Yes.
Well, we've got about a minute left in this segment, and I know it's tough, but if you had like 30 seconds to say something to Coach Poyer, what would you like to say to Coach Poyer?
Oh, gosh. I would just say thank you. I think he's given a lot of people second opportunities, me included, to just play the sport that we love, somewhere that's fun. It might be kind of in the middle of nowhere, but, you know, there's fun opportunities. There's great people. So I would just say a big thank you for kind of giving me a second chance at volleyball.
Okay, and Sophia, I'll ask you the same question. What's your video capture for Coach Poyer?
I'd also say thank you. He gave me another opportunity to play at the next level, and I'm just very thankful for everything that he has done for me and the team as a whole. He cares about us. So.
Well, ladies, I know that this weekend, your final foray into Greyhound volleyball for this campaign. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment, so we'll clear this out and we'll bring in a couple of young ladies from Greyhound softball right now. Welcome back to Sports Look, and a privilege to bring to the set of Sports Look two young ladies from Greyhound softball. We've got Ashley Burns, we've got Grace Raffi, and ladies, welcome to Sports Look.
Thank you.
Well, Ashley, for people who watched in previous semesters, they may already know the answer because you've already been my guest once on Sports Look. But for the people who didn't get to see that episode, where are you from and what was the process that got you here?
I'm from Houston, Texas. Well, more specifically, Sugar Land, Texas, originally, which is a suburb of Houston. And then my first 2 years of college, I spent at a junior college in Colorado called Trinidad State University, or college. And then after the 2 years there, I graduated with an Associate of Arts, and then got in contact with the coaches here, and I transferred here after I graduated.
Very good. And Grace, we'll ask you the same question. Where are you from and what got you here?
I'm from San Francisco, California. I went to a junior college there in San Mateo called College of San Mateo. I played softball there for 2 years, and I graduated from there with an Associates of Arts like Ashley. And I got into contact with the coaches here at Eastern and transferred last year, and I've been here ever since.
And Ashley, we'll ask you the question, was softball your only sport, or did you play other ones and softball just turned out to be your fave?
As a little kid, I feel like a lot of people kind of make some, like, go around and try to figure out what's going to be like their sport. As a little kid, soccer, basketball, volleyball, and softball. But yeah, softball was, I think I started as baseball, like a little t-ball, like 2 or 3 as early as I could. And then once I was able to and was like old enough, I moved from t-ball to softball, and then yeah, just took that the whole way.
All right, and Grace will ask you the same question. Was softball your only sport, or were there others intermixed in there?
There were others when I was growing up, for sure. I played everything I could just to stay busy. I loved being outside, so I played basketball, soccer, football, softball, tried volleyball for a little bit. It wasn't my thing, but yeah, and then I stuck with softball right about the time I got to high school. I kind of rolled with it ever since, and it was the thing I was best at, so I stayed with it, and I've been successful at it.
Ashley, who were the big influences on you to help you become the softball player that you did?
I would definitely say, like, well, as a little one, my brother was an influence because I watched him play t-ball, and I was like, okay, I want to be him, and so I'd run the bases after his games, and then I probably got my competitive side from him because who wants to lose to their older brother at anything? So like even with like basketball and like the driveway. And then my mom definitely pushed me because there was times when I was like, maybe I don't need to play anymore. Like maybe I'm just kind of like burnt out. And she was like, no, like this has been your dream. She kept pushing me. And then also I do have to give some credit to the Astros because I'm a big Astros fan. And we always grew up watching them like any chance we got whenever it was during the season for them. And I would like one of their third baseman right now is Alex Bregman, and he was a big influence for me because I'm also a third baseman.
And Grace asked you the same question. Who were the influences helping you to become the softball player that you are?
My older sister, for sure, when I was younger, she grew up playing softball as well, so she kind of did everything first, and I just like to follow in her footsteps. So she was a real big influence as I was growing up. And then once I got to junior college, my head coach, Nicole Quigley-Borg, that's her name. She huge influence. I think that she definitely made me into the college player that I am today, for sure.
And you have something in common with Ashley. She's from a town that's won a couple of
Very
World
true.
Series, and the
Yeah.
Giants won 3 and 5 years.
Yeah, I grew up watching the Giants. Gratefully, I grew up watching them win the World Series when I was right around elementary school, middle school. So they were really great those couple years, and that was a huge influence too.
Who is your favorite player?
Always Brandon Crawford. Always Brandon Crawford growing up. Buster Posey too. I was a catcher for a long time, but Brandon Crawford's always been my favorite.
Well, Ashley, speaking of positions, what position did you grow up playing? What position you're playing for the Greyhounds?
I guess at first you kind of like move around a little bit just because you're really young and stuff. But then I kind of moved around even a little bit in high school. I played, so my sophomore year of high school, we actually ended up winning the state tournament, and I was a center fielder. But my main position has always been third, and I'm playing third for the Greyhounds as well.
Okay, and Grace, how about you?
I grew up a catcher, but like Ashley said, you kind of play everywhere, but mostly catching all growing up. When I first got to college, my freshman year, I caught the whole season, and then my sophomore year, my coach told me, she was like, we need you to transition to first base. We don't have anyone there. And I had never done that in my life before, and I was like, well, here goes nothing. I'll give it my best effort, give it a shot. And ever since then, I've been playing first base. I got recruited as a first baseman here, and I've been playing that ever since.
And it is interesting. In baseball, quite often, guys that are kind of towards the end of their career where they aren't as mobile behind the plate, they make the transition from catcher to first.
Yeah, it's something that I think is kind of like a natural transition. I know, like I mentioned my sister earlier, she was catcher first baseman. So it kind of, I've noticed it a lot with catchers. They kind of just go over to first base if they're not playing or if they kind of get older, like you said.
Ashley, last year was a year that was in many ways very similar to the year before, where the Greyhound ladies qualify for the playoffs. They are playing a higher seeded team. They get the W, and then they play the number one team, and they come really, really close. And what was last season like for you?
I would definitely say it was very, I think we played our hearts out, but I think that we have a lot more, we have almost like a chip on our shoulder right now. We lost by 1 run. We had it right there, and I think we have a lot of, add that added fuel to our fire. So I'm excited for this season, but last season was fun, but I think we still have a lot of returning players, so we're just going to keep growing.
And Grace, from your standpoint, what was last year like?
I think last year, like Ashley said, like we fought till our hearts gave out. I really think we gave our best effort, especially as we got to the conference tournament. And it was a tough loss. It was a really, really tough loss. Coming from behind, almost tying it, and just losing by one, like you said. And that's how they had lost the year before, too, just by one run. And I mean, we had beaten UT Tyler one time during season, and it was a huge win for us, probably our biggest win in the season. And I think we all knew we were capable of coming back and getting them in the conference tournament, and we fell just short. But like Ashley said, we're coming for vengeance this year, for sure.
And I think you've already answered a question that I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, what was the high point of last year?
Oh, definitely that game. For me, at least, it was beating UT Tyler. They were the number 5 in the nation. That was a big, big game.
And Ashley, is that going to be your answer, or was there another game that stands out?
I think that one's probably my answer because I can't quite remember the exact score of that game, but I remember we were like probably the loudest we've ever been in that dugout.
That was a close game
all
too.
Hands on deck. Everyone stepped up when they needed to, and I think Chandler Groves had a pretty good hit that ended up scoring 1 or 2 runs that was very clutch, and that was just a fun game to be a part of.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because Chandler from Artesia, New Mexico, so she's in the range of K&W. So there are people are, hey, I know that girl. So Ashley, talk a little bit about your adjustment. You are already, both of you had college experience, but you're coming to a new school. And who was the player on the team last year that really helped to show you the ropes?
Well, Ali Inepa was another transfer. I would actually probably say Grace was my one of my rocks last year because she always seems like she's always level-headed, and there are some moments, specifically on defense, like if we would get kind of like not tense, but like just chaotic. She knows how, like she's always there to like calm everyone down, or like even in the weight room, we were at the same rack last year, so we were like partners in the weight room, so that was cool too.
Yeah.
So, Grace, would you say the same thing, or was there a player on the team that really helped you the most?
I think me and Ashley were very close last year, and we kind of we were each other's rock for a lot of it too. I think looking up to Kenzie Patterson, she was one of our captains that left a 5th year. I looked up to her a lot. It's kind of ironic, but we didn't play close to the same position, and she was a lefty, I'm a righty. It was very different, but I looked up to her a lot as a captain and as a leadership standpoint. She'd been here for 5 years in Portales, so I respected her a lot, and I looked to her.
Ashley, talk a little bit about Coach Fiefel and talk about Shannon, the assistant coach. What do they bring to the table for Greyhound softball?
I think they bring a lot of passion and drive. They know what they're talking about 100%, and they don't expect nothing but our best. Like, and they expect it every practice, every rep, there's no reps off, and including games too. Like, we high energy, lots of like communication and just keeping each other accountable, I feel like, and I think they do a really good job at holding us to a high standard.
And Grace asked you the same question.
I think, like Ashley said, I mean, they come with success and they come with knowledge of the game that you can't get from anyone else. They both played at a really high level in the NCAA playing college softball. So I respect them so much just from a coaching standpoint and a person standpoint, but they definitely expect the best from us, and they don't take anything that's less than our best, and that's for our own good. And it makes us better every single day, so I respect them a lot for that.
Well, Ashley, you didn't need directions to get here to K&W because you've been in this building a few times. You are actually a comm major.
Yes, sir.
What do you hope to do with your comm degree?
Right out the gate when I graduate, and so I'm supposed to be graduating in the spring. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't figured that all out, but eventually I do want to do something, stay in like the media kind of side, but like more like stay with like sports media. So maybe with like creating like content for a sports team, maybe the Astros, or so I haven't really figured it all out yet, but I really just love like media and sports media specifically.
Well, Grace, let's ask you, what are you majoring in and what do you hope to do with your career?
I'm a comm major. I'm in the public relations emphasis. Yeah, so I usually am on the other side of the building most of the time. But yeah, I really want to kind of like Ashley, work with sports, hopefully, kind of take over social media aspects of it, kind of like press interviews, that type of stuff. I really like writing. So if I could figure out anything to do with that, involve it with sports, kind of work towards the social media aspect, the marketing, the advertising. I'd love to do that.
Okay, and Ashley, we've got about a minute left. So who is your favorite professor? What's the best class you've had here?
Ooh. I like all my professors. I think one of the classes that I've taken, I think it was with Colt Owens, and it was digital, I don't want to say it wrong. It's like graphics for television or something like that. And it was I did a lot of like Photoshop and different, I just got it like, he kind of, his projects were more like open, so like open for like interpretation kind of, and like just kind of your creativity. And so I really like that one. I also am taking one right now, it's directing for television with Lonnie Berry, and that one's really fun because, I mean, I've kind of had like maybe like wanted to do stuff with that, like directing, but I have never really gotten to like go into it, so it's pretty cool this semester too.
All right, Grace, ask you the same question. Favorite class and favorite professor?
Like Ashley said, I like all my professors. They're all really great in the comm department, but I really enjoyed media writing with Lonnie last semester. I really, really liked that, and I think I found a passion for writing with him, so I enjoyed that one.
Well, ladies, thanks so much for being our guest, and we wish you the best of luck in the spring, and let's hope this is the year you win not one bit, at least 2 games in the LSC playoffs.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of Sports Look. So what we'll do is we'll clear this out, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. Earlier this week, right here in this building, we had the Communication Festival. We had people in the field that came in to talk to prospective students. And I got to be on a panel with the great Jack Nixon, who is the play-by-play guy for New Mexico State University. And he was talking about how early in his career he got a chance to interview Will Chamberlain. And that reminded me of something you might not be aware of. What do we call the area that's the free throw lane and the little half circle in back of the free throw line? We call that the key. Do you know why we call it the key? Because back in the day, the free throw lane was only 3 feet wide. Well, it's way more than 3 feet wide now. You know why? Because of Will Chamberlain. Because back in the day, he could camp out literally right under the hoop, and there was no stopping him. And so basketball passed a rule widening the lane. So it's still called the key. Doesn't look anything like a key today. Well, that will finish up in overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of Sports Look. I'd like to thank my guests. We had Hallie Sanders and Sophia Valdez from volleyball. We had Ashley Burns and Grace Rafi from softball. Had a new floor director, Ms. Jasmine, doing a great job of running the show for me. So for all of those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.